So thank you guys for giving me a few minutes tonight. My name is Andrew Cooperrider. I'm running for state treasurer. I'm a Christian. I think it's incredibly important that when we're looking at who we're electing, we're trying to elect people that have some sort of basic principles and values. So often when we see politicians go bad, it is because they get more addicted to getting to judge their local talent shows than actually doing the work of the office. So I think it's incredibly important that we have people that have higher principles and a moral compass that's not based upon the whims of man. I'm also a father of an 11-year-old son. My wife is with me here tonight in the back. As I understand it, my son, my wife, and my mom all came to your social there. I'm sorry about that. If I'd known all three of them was going, I might have reeled them back in. I think that's too much Cooperrider for everybody. It'll be all right. I'm also a business owner, and a lot of you know me from one of my businesses, Boone. And that's the coffee shop in Lexington that refused to shut down to Bashir's mandates. And when we stayed open and we looked around on those front lines, we saw many of you guys standing with us, literally standing with us. I met many of you in this room at that time. And together we were able to accomplish a great victory in Kentucky. In fact, Kentucky was the only state in the entire country that was shut down over Thanksgiving but was reopened before Christmas. Every other state that shut down for Thanksgiving remained closed over the course of Christmas, and I didn't do it by myself. I did it because people like you were standing with me. And I think it's something incredibly important as we find ourselves maybe not in a new battle, but a battle that has become incredibly more apparent and important. And that is the very foundations of what our country was founded on, faith, family, and freedom, is under attack. We see diversity, equity, inclusion initiatives, LGBTQ agendas, the critical race theory stuff, all being pushed on our kids. Since 2011, every year, kids have gotten sadder and sadder until we've gotten to the saddest generations of kids we've had in the history of the United States. Something that hits me particularly hard because my son was born in 2011. Every year that he has been alive, his generation of children have gotten more and more depressed. It's because we're robbing them of the principles and values that so many of us grew up on. And if there's one thing I hate more than these principles and morals that go against everything we're supposed to stand for, it's when our tax dollars are being taken from us and they're being used to push this forward. And that's why I'm running for state treasurer. How many people know what the state treasurer actually does? Other than Senator Shaker. How many people know? So the state treasurer's office, its job according to the state constitution is to ensure our money is spent both legally and constitutionally correct. Beyond that, it then says that everything else the treasurer's office is supposed to do is prescribed to it by the legislature. And right now, some of those topics include the lottery, pensions, as well as lottery, pensions, and what's my third one, honey? I'm sorry. I just had a brain fart there. Lottery, pensions, and I like to talk about something else that will come to me. But let's focus on the first one that's actually prescribed to us by the Constitution, because that's the most important. And that is making sure our money is spent both legally and constitutionally correct. And on top of making sure that we elect somebody that's not a political climber into the position, because so often, so many people believe that the state treasurer's office is a useless office. And I always say, it's not a useless office, we've just had useless people. In fact, until Allison Hall, it's been Democrats since 1933. So that doesn't really leave much question as to why we've had so many useless people in that office. But so often the office is looked at as a parking spot for people to seek higher political office. But think about this, it's the office, the first line of defense to make sure your dollars are not used to fund tyranny over you. It's incredibly an important office, incredibly important. And beyond that, because that's its role, it has a unique nuts and bolts access to the budget of our state. And with that access to the budget, we can seek out and find wasteful, immoral, not just illegal and unconstitutional, but wasteful and immoral spending. Because it is incredibly difficult to seek it out. I created a wasteful spending report. You can find it at andrew4ky.com/waste. And in there I detail over $500 million of our state tax dollars that have been wasted over the last year. I did not find that information on the state treasurer's transparency website. It took me days and hours digging through contracts to actually find what it is. And some of it includes funding an LGBTQ choir called Voices of Kentuckiana in Louisville. Some of it includes creating special loan programs for diverse individuals. I don't know exactly what that means, but I have a feeling I would not qualify. But if our tax dollars are being taken from us, it should be used for programs that we can all benefit from. And the Treasurer's Office can be a catalyst for real change in that category by using that unique access to the budget to create that transparency. Additionally, as well, we see in the lottery, recently we noticed in the lottery, 2 years ago, they started accepting credit cards for payment to purchase lottery tickets. Something that I personally find morally ridiculous. Especially considering the Treasurer's Office is supposed to be tasked with financial literacy, and yet we're encouraging one of the least financial literate decisions to make, purchasing lottery tickets on a credit card. And finally, as well, our pensions, it's certainly a big issue. 3 times our state GDP, that's our pension obligation right now. We've lost 20% of our pensions over the last year. We just saw another $10 million embezzlement out of our pensions just recently. This is happening from a lack of oversight, and it's happening from a lack of holding people accountable. At some point, people are going to have to get arrested in order to stop it from happening. Now, we've got a minute left. So, I thank you guys for listening to me for a bit. Please, if you're conservative, if you believe in liberty, you want to protect our Constitution, please vote for me in May. While it's not as sexy as the Secretary of State or governor's race, it is an incredibly important race that can be an extreme defense for us. And I certainly would love your support. I love your financial support. Please visit the table. It's expensive to run statewide. It's very expensive. So please visit the table there. But also you can pick up yard signs, literature, bumper stickers, all those things. Thank you guys so much. And May, please vote for me. We don't need a new generation with new ideas. We need a new generation that can return us to our conservative values. Thank you.